Hello, hello. It is your Astro Coach Sarah here for Wellness Astrology. This time for the moon in Aries. It is our last lunation cycle in Gemini season. Woo! It's been a doozy. Still going to be a doozy because we still have a lot happening. But the good news is Mars has moved into Virgo. So yeah, that's a thing. And will therefore then break apart from that square to Uranus in Taurus. However, we are still in the throes of Saturn and Neptune conjunct. This is going to be a trend for quite some time. It's they're within a degree of each other. I think they break apart in the fall and then they come back together early in 2026 before the actual conjunction in February of 2026, which coincidentally happens right after a solar eclipse, right around somebody's solar return, who shall remain nameless. Anyway, so I have a very exciting birthday coming up. But because we have this conjunction that's going to stick around for a while at the earliest degrees of Aries, the earliest degrees of the zodiac, with this moon coming through, like, and Mercury in Cancer is actually moving into a trine over the next couple of days or so with the North Node in Pisces, and a sextile, therefore, to the South Node in Virgo. And so you're really kind of this emotional, mental process happening with Mercury in Cancer, and Jupiter in Cancer still kind of squaring Neptune. Um, but so there's a lot of like, it's time to get for real serious. Like, stop fucking playing around. Um, I had something I was thinking of saying, but I don't think I'm going to word it that way. So hang on one sec. Um, there's a dynamic about being Pluto and Aquarius, and all of the things, these transits that are happening, but but specifically Pluto and Aquarius, right? There's this level of uniqueness, right? And all of us, each of us needing to accept one another's uniqueness, even if we don't like their uniqueness. But because to some people, being unique is them being a complete ass or completely like ridiculous, but they're being unique and authentic. So how can you like question them? You don't have to like them. You don't have to want to be around them, but you do have to accept that this is who they really are. Or it's a case of you got the rose colored or the beer goggles yanked off of your face and you finally saw somebody for who they really are, right? It's like any, and not just I don't want to say I don't want to limit the conversation to just an abuser in a relationship because that's not all we're talking about here, but right? Like you give somebody so many chances to be a nice person and they're continuing to give you guilt trips and, judge you and criticize you. And eventually you just either succumb to following whatever they want, or quietly leave them be and let them be their guilt-ridden, judgy, shameful asshole self, because that's who they truly are. And sure, maybe it's their wounded self, maybe it's their shadows they're unwilling to face and accept and see within themselves. But the point is it's that it's on them. Remember, this is Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron in Aries, the I am of the zodiac. Now the moon's there. It's this opportunity to be like, I get it. That's who you are. I also choose not to be around that you type of people, your type of people. And I don't have to say, you don't have to say, does not need to be a fuck you, fuck off. And let me tell you something. Rewind back to the end of 2022. I was going through like stuff in multiple directions. Okay. Relationships with people, para relationships I had with people. And I felt so much betrayal from multiple avenues, multiple groups of people in my life, right? And quietly wrote letters to some of those people where I spilled everything that I was feeling, why I was angry at them. I just spilled everything. And I have been a letter writing person most of my adult life. It's been part of my psychotherapy. It's been part of my coaching work for myself and for my clients. And so I've been a constant letter writer. And I'm not saying that I wrote the letter, printed it, or wrote the letter in a notebook and tore the page out and put it in the mail and sent it to them or handed. I'd never have done that, y'all. I have written countless letters to people spilling all of my feelings because the reality is that most people do not experience emotions the way that I experience emotions, which I think sucks, but it's part of me and who I am. But if I were to come to certain people and say, like, it really hurt me, or I'm really, this, that, and the other thing, like I'm feeling such and such a way about you or towards this thing that you did or whatever, most people don't really give a fuck. But I give a fuck about how it affects me. And that's what you got to decide for yourself. But does it matter whether you actually share it with them? So 2022, I wrote some letters to some people. Never sent them. In fact, I'm pretty sure since then I have deleted them all off my devices because I just don't even need them anymore. But then I kind of dug in deep with some work that I needed to do for myself. At that point, Mars was retrograde in Gemini. That was a really tough retrograde. I think the Mars in Gemini retrograde in 2022 and 2023 was worse than this one in Cancer, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe it's just because of how my chart is set up, because I know the one this year really affected a bunch of people too. But the one in Gemini, I really felt that one. I didn't feel this one as bad. I didn't feel motivated, but I didn't feel it to such the degree that I felt the one in 2022. Anyway, fast forward, now here we are in 2025, and per some of the parasocial relationships, in other words, relationships that I have with people who I have not met in person, but have met them and known them through the interwebs. And I'm like completely cleansed, healed, like, don't, whatever, if I hit a comment or interact with their content and they don't acknowledge, or I'm just no such way about it. Like, I still respect them for the work that they do. What I'm saying here is, there are times in our life when we have to kind of say fuck you to people quietly to ourselves in a letter. You hurt me. I'm bothered by this. I'm upset that you did this, or you were this way towards people, or blah, 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 right? And we do this quietly. We do it privately. We do it in a letter writing and whatever. And then because you've kept that to yourself, you've done no damage to the relationship, right? You've done it, you've done you've let the emotions out for yourself, not for them, because forgiveness is not about other people. It is about you and you clearing the free rent space that's being taken up in your head and in your heart. Okay, so then what happens is you give yourself that opportunity to heal, to repair, to mend, to understand, to shift your perspective and all of these things. And then 3 years later, you can be no such way about how anything happens. Right? And you can do this with people in your real life. I just happen to have done it for parasocial relationships, but it doesn't mean that I haven't done it for people in my real life as well. People I will never speak to again for various reasons. I've written letters to them explaining blah, blah, blah. People who have turned into characters in fictional books that I'm currently writing, like all of these things. So my point is there are ways that you can heal yourself and allow yourself to become whole with yourself, maybe with that other person if necessary, without ever even confronting or ever even sharing how you felt with that other person. Because ultimately, they probably don't care. Maybe they do, and if they do, then there's a conversation. I know people who absolutely have to have closure conversations. I do not. I do not need closure conversations. I will do the closure on my own because the closure is on me. It's what I want. I want the closure. I want the completion. I want to do the healing. It has nothing to do with that person. That person probably does not care whether or not I do the work or not. So it's all on me and it's how I choose to be. So as this moon's moving through Aries, it's hitting on Saturn, it's hitting on Neptune. We've got Uranus very close to finishing up in Taurus. I think we have like less than a month before Uranus moves into Gemini. You know, we've got Venus in Taurus, we've got Mars, or let me go in order. The Sun finishing up in Gemini. We've got Jupiter and Mercury in Cancer. Jupiter's exalted there. And, you know, Jupiter kind of has the upper hand in the chart. Well, I guess Venus is in her home sign. So we've got the benefics in their best places right now. We've got Mars and Virgo. So people are loving organizing right now, and people are loving letting things go and just wait about a month or so when Mars conjuncts the South Node in Virgo. And people are gonna love to, you know, get rid of shit or not be so detail oriented or, you know, maybe release some control and get rid of some mental constipation around detail oriented or having it be in control or whatever. Could also affect health related things, digestion, and whatnot. So we have a really, really good thing going. But unfortunately, what's happening is that a lot of people are realizing what parts of themselves they need to change, or relationships or how they are in relationships needs to change. And so that's kind of the sort of if you want to say like the bend in the chart, or the we'll say the log jam if we're talking about digestion. So anyway, so that's kind of this moon in Aries. I kind of like it because we're coming off of the squares. But you know, we're still in the thick of energy. We've got a new moon in Cancer coming up in probably about a week because we just had the third quarter moon square in Pisces. So we're about a week away from the new moon in Cancer. But we are, you know, here for the summer solstice, and I think it's going to be a hot one, to say the least, because, you know, but anyway, I really think like we've pulled the Justice card a lot lately. If I pull it again, it's going to kind of solidify. But I think there's this whole need to really zoom out and look at things objectively and look at things like the stage show that it actually is. So let's see what we get from the tarot. Oh, no, but we will get Judgment in reverse. Oh, well, whatever is up for judgment right now is not going the way we expected it to go. Um, and this is where we all kind of have to zoom out in our objectivity, to really see why something became, you know, what we feel like is unjust. You know, I do think there's going to be some things come up around like motherhood, nurturing, nourishment, mothering type issues, both medically and otherwise. You know, we are certainly in a Pluto Aquarius population decline, birth rate decline, all of those things, whether it's orchestrated or people are just choosing not to have children, or, you know, you're like me and you never met the right guy to have children. But I I definitely think that there's things that are happening that are causing the birth rate to be lower. Um, and you can put that message on many things, right? There's so many things out there that are fucking with our hormones that are causing us to have hormonal issues, and anything from, you know, estrogen issues, testosterone issues, to insulin and other hormones. We have several. There's a bunch of hormones. I don't really know all about them, um, but with this judgment in reverse, it's like the thing that you think should be getting justice or judged on is not. And this could also go back to like the creativity, like what you think people will judge you for is not what they're judging you for, right? Right. So I think it's a good time to, you know, be observant and objective, and not so much, man, really? The Lover's upright. Y'all, this self-love thing, ooh, it is popping up because I think this is the third time in a row we've drawn this card. I think we had it upright, we've had it reverse, we've had it with the Justice, we've now got it with Judgment in reverse. There is some part of love, and I hate to be like the the love light bullshit chick because I'm not that. I mean, everything ain't sunshine and butterflies and rainbow poop and unicorns. It's not. But I think there is something coming out about like, um, there is something coming up here about are we going to continue to let the supposed powers that be tear us apart, keep us divided, keep us fighting, keep us um, you know, keep us, are we really going to allow this to keep going with the whole like leftist, rightist, conservatives, who doesn't accept who, I think all of the movements that I may have once supported have gotten so goddamn extremist and ridiculous that I no longer like have any interest in them because I'm a type of person who accepts everybody. I really like don't I don't have any like I don't know. Um but I think there's a level of of people are coming at each other so hateful. I mean, I see it on like, fitness stuff on TikTok and people are coming at fat people that are outside trying to do their daily walk or in the gym and they're criticizing them or people probably criticize me because I'm a little chubby. But I don't know. I feel like we could be different towards each other. And whether that is in business or in our personal lives or whatever, like I think we all need to kind of look in the mirror and be like, you know, you're to this, that, and the other to be a part of my business. And yet you overlook the person because of their outward appearance, but you forget that their wisdom, their heart, and their soul could really benefit the growth of your business. Um, so yeah, but they don't fit the picturesque. You know what I'm saying? Like we all just kind of have this superficial, and it's partly because of social media, and partly because prior to social media, we had catalogs, and we had models, and there was this whole like, everybody needs to have a certain type of body, but none of us has that. And I think, I don't know. But this doesn't have to be about your physical body. This could be like, just in general. What are you judging about people? Are you judging people because of some lame, superficial thing? And we all judge others, trust me. We all do. We all do it. It's okay. All right, let's see what's up in the ancient feminine wisdom. All right. We have um Penthesilea, and that is spelled Penthesileia, Penthesilea. Um, I've not seen this card in a really long time. And this is Amazon, so adventure. Amazon is a rainforest before it was actually a bookshop once upon a time. Prior to it becoming what it is now, it started out as a book website. Um, because I used to shop at it as a bookshop and it was there along with half.com, which was another bookshop that I used to shop at. But anyway, this is actually referring to Amazon as in um strength, warrior-esque, adventure, journey. This is learning functional daily skills, like not necessarily like survival, but kind of, but like functional skills. Um, One thing I have studied when I've studied like fitness stuff is functional skills. Can you, you know, squat down to pick up a dropped object, or do you bend from your hip hinge or bend straight over? It's something I've worked on with vision rehab over the years, is reminding my blind students, like, you need to squat down to pick something up because if you bend over, you might smack your face on the back of a chair or the side of the counter or something like that. So But this is functional skills. This is functional practical skills. Like what skills do you need in order to function? And that may mean that you need different functional skills than other people. Like you need to make lists or you need to write letters or something like that. So what things do you need to clear and cleanse in order to function? Because you're holding on to so much energy. You're holding on to all of the things you need to forgive and all of the things you need to let go of and all of that kind of shit too. So anyway, that's what I got for this moon in Aries. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Take care.